Hey writers, today is day 4 of the Nada to Novel series that we have been working through for the past week. Today we're going to talk about how you're actually going to finish and write that first draft of your manuscript. So when you have a brand new project, it's exciting, you've got a lot of energy around this project, and you just want to get started. I totally get that. But then when you sit down to actually write the words, it can be really daunting and overwhelming to think about all this work you're going to have to do to write and edit and perfect 80,000, 100,000, 120,000 words. So, to me, the most effective way to alleviate stress and anxiety is to have a plan. So, today I'm going to walk you through your plan. First of all, I want you to lock into your commitments. I want you to have a start date. How about today? No time like the present, right? And then I also want you to have an end date, okay? This can be an estimation, absolutely, but realistically, looking at your calendar, how much time can you commit to writing every day and every week, okay? Can you show up 3 times a week for 20 minutes at a time? 4 times a week for an hour at a time? Everybody's schedule is a little bit different. So you're going to have to determine that for yourself. And that's going to give you some idea of if it's going to be like a month, like a novel November type situation, or if it's you need something more like 2 months, 4 months. Okay. You set that for yourself. And then I would love for you to come up with an accountability partner. It doesn't have to be another writer. Obviously, it's nice because they get your struggles. But if it's just your best friend, someone who's going to cheer you on, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to draft in sprints. So we're writing very fast. We're getting words on the page. We're not worrying about them being the perfect words yet. And what I want is for you to draft the bulk of your manuscript while you're still excited and on fire for this project. We're going to go back in and fill in the holes later. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to break your manuscript into 3 to 4 sections. If you're familiar with the Act 3 or the Act 4 structure, that's a perfectly good way to do it. If you're not familiar with those or aren't comfortable working with those, you can just simply look at the word count that you've got or that you're aiming for and split it in half, split those 2 halves in half again. Bam, you've got 4 sections to work off of. Assign specific days or weeks to each section. So if you've given yourself 4 months to write this manuscript, a month for that first section, month 2, you'll be working on that second one, and on and on. Also, the way we're going to be doing this is called the Pomodoro method. If you've been around writing for any amount of time, you've probably heard of the Pomodoro method. This is based on the belief that our brain works best in 25-minute increments. So you're going to set a timer and go by that timer. You are going to wait until you've actually sat down and you're ready to write. Set the timer for 25 minutes, and then you get 5-minute break before you come back and do it again. Obviously, if you only have 30 minutes to write, you only do 1 Pomodoro method that day. But if you have an hour and a half, you might be doing 2 or 3, okay? So you're writing really quick, as much as you can. There is a lot of telling going on in an approach like this, and that's totally fine. We can come in and show the scene later. And then you're going to start to close the gaps. After you've used that Pomodoro method to write each section of your book or get each section of your book started, you've got the 4 sections, right? You're going to go in and start filling in the gaps. What scenes were you not able to complete because you're not sure how that scene ends? You're not sure what outcome you're looking for. Maybe I don't want you going over the scenes that you don't like yet. I don't want you doing any editing yet. We're just filling in the gaps. For this, I like to have some longer sessions where I can work, where I can focus. Again, not because I'm editing. I just need to focus on what's happening in this scene and how is that going to connect to the next scene. We always want all of our scenes to connect, okay? This is called narrative drive, and it makes a reader want to read forward. It gives a sense of momentum and motion to your story. Finish and prep for revision, okay? So we're not finishing the entire manuscript, we're finishing that first round through, okay? We're going to be closing loops. We're going to be filling in gaps. We want 1 complete draft so we have something we can improve upon. Now, once you've got your complete draft on paper, in your computer, however you write, you're going to go through and you're going to start listing all the things that you want to improve about your manuscript. Again, there are scenes that you didn't finish. Maybe there are scenes you don't like. Maybe there are scenes you like but need to be beefed up a bit, okay? Start with your biggest problems first. Don't be worrying about things like commas and the perfect word or the perfect phrase right now, because all those things are going to change as you change your manuscript anyway. We're looking at the big things, a dropped character or a scene that runs on for way too long, things like that. Now, by the end, you have a full beginning to end manuscript. I know it's not pretty. I know it's not where you want it to be, but you've got a complete manuscript, a complete first draft. Woo! Celebrate! Okay, now you're going to start back at the beginning. And again, you've got these 4 sections of your novel that you've divvied it up into. So I want you to start back at the beginning and start refining it. Again, we are working not really to edit the words still, not yet, but we're just working to fill in any gaps, fill in any holes, anything that you weren't sure what was supposed to happen in this scene. Maybe you wrote in your first pass through, you wrote, have a fight scene happen here. Take your first pass at writing that fight scene. Have a love scene happen here. And oh my gosh, you've never written a love scene in your life. Okay, so you're going to have to do a little research. Again, this is the reason that I like to have these be a little bit longer of sessions. Don't do too much research. Don't get lost in research, but you might have to spend a little bit of time researching before you can write forward. Now, I've given you time periods here and word count goals. You certainly don't have to go by those. That's just an estimation. Use what's going to work for you, okay? You're going to have to break down, as we talked about in the planning video on day 3, you're going to have to break down how many words you have that you need to edit and how you're going to get through that in these 4 gaps of time. If you fall off, don't get frustrated. Try not to get frustrated with yourself. I know that's our first inclination a lot of times. We had a goal, we intended to reach it, and it looks like it's not going to happen now. Don't try to catch up on your word count all at once. You're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to freeze up. At least that's what I do when I get overwhelmed. But do jump back in today, even if it's just for a few minutes. Spend some time with your work again today and spend some time writing forward. I like to have something physical in my space that reminds me. This mentions like a physical journal, something that's in your way on your desk so you can't ignore this project that you're working on, right? I have just like my journal bound notebook that I keep all my notes in for my novel, and I put that right in the center of my desk. So I have to move it out of the way if I want to open my computer. Just a physical reminder. Now, if you feel stuck in the middle, you absolutely have my permission to skip ahead. Give yourself that permission too. If there's a scene you're excited about that's 3/4 of the way in, go ahead and write it. Save it, and you pull it up when you're ready for it. There's no reason to be stuck and slogging and not making word count because you're not excited about this specific scene. Now, if you're not excited, you can't expect your reader to be excited. So there's going to have to be some changes to that scene, or maybe it needs to be omitted altogether. But we can worry about that later. Again, right now we're drafting very quickly. After you have that final full draft, and you've gone through it once to fill in all the holes and the gaps, I want you to go through it one more time. We're going to fine tune this work a little bit. We're still not doing any heavy editing, but we're going to kind of tweak our scenes a little bit. We're going to ask ourselves some deeper questions about, what is my character not seeing yet? How do I want them to finally get it? Remember, stories are about change, and we want our characters to learn and grow over the course of the story. So how are they going to get there? What are the steps they need to take from where they start off at the beginning of the novel to where they're going to end up during the climax? And then, what is my reader not seeing yet? How can I get it on the page? Lots of times a writer comes to me wanting to write a certain story, but they haven't gotten it on the page yet. So we work together so I can show them how you can up the internal dialogue, or improve how you write emotions, or things like that, to show your reader how your character is feeling and why they've taken the action that they have. I don't want you to worry. I know this is not easy, and the way we're doing it is not easy. But to me, anyway, this has always been a good way to get writers writing forward and fast, and get that momentum I talked about at the beginning is really invaluable to getting them all the way to the finish line. Every book started as a messy first draft, okay? You don't have to write perfectly, but you do have to keep going long enough to finish if you want to publish. And I'm assuming that's why you're here. So over the next few months, as long as you'll have me, actually, I'm going to be digging deeper into all these topics. As I mentioned, this first week was just a really zoomed out approach to what are all the major steps that you're going to have to go through as a writer to improve your skills, to become published, to find an agent. We're going to jump into all of these things and dig deep. We're going to have some shorter videos, and I'm going to go very specific on what you need help with. So I would love if you added in the comments below what you need help with so I can address your needs. Finally, if you find yourself in need of some one-on-one coaching, please reach out to me. You can reach me at my website at turningwritersintoauthors.com. You can reach me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, or you can just go to my contact sheet on my website and email me directly. Until then, happy writing.